Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loudwire podcast. My name is Joe, and my lovely co-host Graham could not be here for this one. I know everyone, it happens. Sometimes both of us can't be here. We do have busy lives, even outside of this stuff, even with this stuff. So I hit Summer Slaughter on a Sunday in New York. Graham unfortunately couldn't make it. And I had one mission when going to Summer Slaughter, and that was to do this podcast with John Gallagher from Dying Fetus. The new album, Wrong One to Fuck With, at least in my opinion, is their best since Destroy the Opposition in 2000. Not to undermine really anything that they've done since then. It's all been pure, awesome, knuckle-dragging bliss. But there's just something, I don't know, just something about this record that just seems like they have the fire back in a new way. I don't know. I'm sure if you've listened to it, you know exactly what I'm talking about because everybody's been praising this album, and got to go into a little bit of the details of the album with John, especially that Die With Integrity video. If you haven't seen that one yet, don't watch it while you're at work. Don't even watch it when anyone else is at home. Make sure you're by yourself, lock the doors, close the windows, even set up like a little blanket over your computer, kind of like you're an NFL ref going in for a review on a challenge play. No one else can see this. It's a disgusting, disgusting video, and I like it. I know a lot of people were upset by it, but I'm just glad that there's somebody pushing the envelope, pushing boundaries in 2017, trying to find something that will get an honest reaction and make people feel uncomfortable, because it is an uncomfortable world. Murders happen, people get killed in awful ways, and the only way to really make this known isn't to just talk about it and report on it like you'll see, but it's to show this violent imagery. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, you know, you're perpetuating this and it's going to inspire people to do this. Like, I don't know. I think seeing somebody's guts get yanked out of them is pretty disgusting and may turn you away from wanting to ever do that if that thought ever even entered your mind. But this is uncomfortable stuff, and we should have to deal with it and see what the stuff actually looks like. So get ready to sit down and shout with John Gallagher from Dying Fetus. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loudwire podcast, and I'm sitting here with John Gallagher of a band that my mom would not let me come home with a shirt from when I saw them when I was 16 in high school. Cannibal Corpse, Necrophagist, and of course, who we're here to talk to today, Dying Fetus.
Hey, what's up, man?
So thanks for giving me some of your time here today.
Oh yeah, awesome.
So that tour was a long time ago, but that was a lot of fun. That was one of the first shows I went to. That might have been the first death metal show I actually saw.
And you were how old then?
16.
16, okay.
My buddy's dad rounded us all up in the car, brought us to Toad's Place in New Haven, and he was a fan of like Exodus, Cavalera, Conspiracy. He really liked Necrophagist with the tech work, and then he saw the tech work on display with you guys there.
Oh yeah, that was a killer tour.
Unmerciful too.
Unmerciful played. That was back when James King was in the band. He was a phenomenal drummer. And yeah, that whole lineup was killer, man. We had a great time. We had a little bit of a different lineup ourselves then, and we had Mike Kimball on guitar, and
back as a four-piece.
Yeah, we were a four-piece and different drummer, and so it was a little different, but it was a killer tour, and I certainly remember that.
So what was the reason for, I know obviously when Mike Kimball left, was there any consideration of picking up another guitarist, or why'd you reduce it down to a three-piece? It's been a three-piece for a long time now.
Yeah, it has. You know, when it first went down, we were auditioning players, we were bringing people in, and we found some really strong players, but no one really fit the bill. And plus they were like kind of far away. People were like, in Chicago. And we wanted somebody that was going to relocate, and I don't think they were really willing to do so. And then tours, we had, fulfillments and stuff. And so we just went ahead and went to Europe, played some festivals as a three-piece, and it worked well. And guys were like, hey, in the industry, other bands were like, yo, you should keep it a three-piece. It's more feasible. You make more money, and it's more lucrative and stuff.
More room
and
on the bus.
Keeps you afloat. Nowadays you have all these flight costs and check-ins, your baggage is all expensive, and you add all that up. When you have 5 guys in a band, so you have like say 2-3 guitars per person. You have luggage. You have all this shit. You're talking about thousands for each flight.
Yeah.
And that to be a death metal band, you have to cut corners sometimes. And
we had Terrence Hobbs and Derek Boyer of Suffocation on the podcast. Terrence called it debt metal, DEBT.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, right? It's hard. You have to kind of play your cards right with this to make it work in the end, and not many people have, and it's unfortunate, and life throws you curveballs. Some people might have kids in a band or something like this, some other obligations that take them away from this, and it's difficult, for bands to stay, true or whatever, the same lineup forever.
Yeah, a lot of bands
So
get some younger
there's
players in
just
because they don't have as many
shit
obligations.
That happens in life, things don't always stay the same, so you got to roll with it. So
Yeah.
But we just decided to stay a 3-piece. It's just easier and this and that. So
yeah, but of course we're sitting down here to talk about your new album, Wrong One to Fuck With.
yeah,
And killer record. Everybody's singing the praises of this thing. I haven't seen one negative comment about this album anywhere, and people love
Wow.
to just shit on everything today.
that's surprising.
So-
I might have to post just one negative comment and be like, this shit sucks. No. But no,
And-
that's cool, man. We're happy with it. We spent a lot of time with it. Yeah.
Man,
put
I
in
love the old
work.
school. I love the old school production. Nice raw,
Cool.
real guitar tones. Hey,
Yeah.
actual drums. How about that?
Actual drums.
Actual
we,
drums.
we mic'd up actual cabinets and stuff. We didn't use the direct signals. Like, I feel like some bands are doing that nowadays. That's why things are getting a bit sterile.
Axe
We're kind of
effects.
using this Axe Effects or maybe Kempers.
Bill
Getting that
Kelleher
direct
from-
sound, which sounds good. Don't get me wrong. If it works for you, that's fine.
Bill Kelleher
But
from
we're-
Mastodon actually uses Axe effects for some of the
Yeah.
those weird tones.
Now, I could see that. Now, like if we were a band like them, or a band that has all different kinds of atmospheric
A lot of
overtones,
psychedelia.
this and that might require more of a process. There's more, effects and all, and that I'm sure like Axe Effects would work great. So it depends what kind of style of band you are. We're kind of like meat, potatoes, whatever, keep it crunchy. So it's not necessary to have all these different effects and all this, but that just works for us. But
And it gives the album an identity. Because one thing I love
Right.
about even like when I was discovering new bands 10 years ago and I'd go and listen to their whole back catalog is each album had like its own sound. Killing on Adrenaline has that just
Right.
huge boomy bass and it's punishing, and then Destroy's a little bit cleaner. But you
Yeah.
could still discern everything, but it's death metal. It's supposed to be a little dirty. It's supposed to be raw. It's supposed to be unhinged.
yeah. We might go, and not that anything is wrong. We'll see how when the time comes, but we've done the last 3 albums with the same guy, and he's mixed it. So maybe it's time for the next one to do something a little different, but keep it within the realm.
Sure.
Like maybe we'll record with him and then get someone else to mix it. But
Just
yeah,
to
so it has a
switch it up.
different. I don't want to
Mhm.
keep releasing the same tone. But with this album, we used a different amp, different cab. I used the Ibanez Tube Screamer in there to give it a little extra bite, little extra crunch, which
Mhm.
it was hard to control. It was so crunchy and finicky, like the guitar, like with making little noises, that it took a long time to get all the tracks really super clean without little scrapes and little pick
The
noises
little
and
nuances.
little nuances and stuff, right? And but like the next album, I probably won't use the screamer. Keep it more of a rounder tone or something. But I wanted to try something different. Like you said, to keep things fresh, give things their own identity. We used a different drum kick, different snares. But it's all Dying Fetus. We don't want to change anything. Don't want to necessarily reinvent the wheel. But we want to progress. Do what we do, progress, take it a little bit further with each release. That's our goal.
Well, taking it a little bit further, you released that video for Die With Integrity.
Oh, yeah.
With the director
yes.
from Cattle Decapitation.
Mitch Massey, yes.
Trigger warning, not talking about the drums.
Yeah, right. Right. I was sick, we just like, of course we've seen his prior work and we were impressed. And we were like, okay, this guy seems like he could handle a couple videos from us, and which he did. So one was the Fixated on Devastation live video, where he came out with his crew and filmed, and we wanted like an intimate kind of setting, give it that nice club feeling, because that's where that's where we thrive, that's where we dwell, But so yeah, but then Die With Integrity, he just took that and ran with it. We gave him the lyrics and the song, and we weren't sure what he was going to do. We knew it would be extreme, and we kind of told him that, like, be extreme, intense, and he just came up with that twisted shit.
Was there anything that shocked you when you first got that back and watched it for the very first time?
That guy, when he's like, when he's fucking whatever, that corpse or whatever the hell
it keeps flashing back to that scene.
Seeing that dude's face kind of like, kind of disturbing there. But yeah, we're trying to get a reaction. I guess the ultimate goal there was to get a reaction out of people. And when you get that reaction, they seem to remember your stuff and they talk about it, and then it spreads and this and that. And
it's like the Gene Simmons saying, any press is good press.
Yeah, for the most part, right. So we're kind of just going with it, and we wanted to keep our videos different from each other. We just didn't want to keep releasing the same kind of live video. So we wanted something different with this release, not just seeing our ugly mugs, on the camera all the time. So we're happy with it, man. And we're also doing a video as we speak tonight. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll have to view the footage and make sure it's all up to our liking and stuff. But we're gonna be trying to do another video on this tour to be released later, more of a live performance thing, capturing some of the cool footage here on the Summer Slaughter tour.
Yeah, it's a good tour to get a bunch of crowd shots from.
So far, so good, man. This is the third night. Each night have been pretty much sold out and just ravenous, man. Just severe.
Yeah, this is like over 10 years now for Summer Slaughter or something, right?
It's been going strong for a while, man. And you
guys have been on it a bunch of times.
There's some things that are kind of a drag about it because it's long days. Compared to like say your traditional 3-4 band package. This is just a way longer day. Black Dahlia are loading in at 9:30 a.m. We're loading in at 11 a.m.
You're going on like 12 hours later.
I feel like it's a real job almost. Like, I'm not supposed to be working. What the fuck is this? I'm doing this shit to get out of work. No. But, no, it's cool because it's keeping me in check. I'm not partying as much as I have in previous tours. I'm not drinking on this tour. For that reason, getting up
just
early.
The long days.
To be spry, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed or whatever. But, yeah, so we're going into this real strong. And, just doing our thing, man.
Cool. Now, for the album cover, I heard you wanted to take it in even more of an extreme direction. Of course, we see somebody holding up a head. There's blood all over the ground.
Yeah,
what exactly were you envisioning?
It's almost there, It's well,
so it's a little.
I wanted it to be
PC
a little more extreme. Just it was I was influenced by old school covers, like say Butchered at Birth, Too Mutilated, these kind of things, or just like over the top. We never really got into that with Fetus. We've kept our covers kind of reserved, never really pushed the gore thing too much or anything. But with this one, I kind of wanted to, use that angle. But yeah, I wanted to, instead of that head that the guy's holding, I wanted that to be like a chick's head with the torso still intact, with like half a boob still connected, with the nipple hanging off and blood kind of squirting off, intestines hanging, the whole 9 yards, man, the whole fucking shebang. But it was kind of, toned down, due to like social.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's 2017 and we have to kind of watch the image. Like, all this stuff was out there in the early 90s. It shocked everybody. It got banned. And then we got over it. It was just commonly accepted. Like, oh, yeah, it's just a gory album cover. Like, I don't even think twice when I see all this stuff anymore. It's just we're desensitized. And now all of a sudden everybody finds it offensive, and it's these horrors are happening. People are actually killing people and doing this stuff, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. That's the point.
Reality, man. It's a harsh reality of the world we live in and stuff. And thinking about it, man, bands were in the 70s, like the Scorpions, even
Virgin Killer cover.
Virgin Killer cover. Come on, like, whoa, they had another one that was weird too, like
Love Drive with the bubble gum over the boob.
Yeah, and he's like little girls hanging out, like a pedophile scenario or something. Then there's like bands like Predator. Look at that terrible cheesy cover, but I know Predator. The guys hanging around like behind the fucking
something like on
pole,
the beach under like a pier or something.
He's like and the girls like there. Like I feel like we could have been more extreme with this, but maybe it's we're getting a little bigger. We're not so underground anymore, so we can't just do what we want. So
it's just, your name is Dying Fetus. Why is the imagery an issue?
With the label, they put a lot of money into the studio time. They gave us a nice budget, so they need to recoup their money back. So they didn't want it to be too intense. I understand. You got to give and take, work with people, and that's the way I am, just flexible.
Yeah. What's funny with that Scorpions cover is I read that was actually the label's idea.
Was
and
it?
the band was like, I'm not so sure about this.
Right. So kind of reminds me of Spinal Tap, Smell the Glove,
What's wrong with being sexy?
Yeah. Right.
Sexy Dying Fetus album cover.
Yeah.
One interesting thing, too, is that you released a Dying Fetus knife with this album. Whose idea was that?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it wasn't mine. I would like to take credit for that, but no. I thought it was genius, kind of like. I was like, whoa, why haven't bands been doing that before? But, I think somebody at Relapse came up with it. They came up with a couple. Basically, all that
jersey.
merch was not our idea, like the basketball jersey with the wrong
12,
1 2, like that was
someone
someone being clever there and stuff, like, but it's cool. So a lot of the ideas and things that come out aren't necessarily from us, but it's people affiliated with us. But the knife thing was cool. I have one at home. I'm gonna keep it for fishing or whatever, just whatever if you like cutting up during the course of the day.
You're an outdoorsman?
A little bit. I enjoy the outdoors. I like nature. I do, man. Walking outside, just the fresh air and all that. Because look where we're at now. We're in a tour bus, and I'm smelling people's feet. People farting all the time, this and that. It's hard to get fresh air when you're on tour.
600 sweaty dudes in a room.
So like when you get home, man, it's nice to be outside and in nature. And I enjoy it. I do a lot of swimming nowadays and.
So you fish? Do you hunt too?
Hiking and stuff like this, huh?
Do you hunt too, or just fish?
No, I've never hunted, man. I've never have shot an animal. I eat meat and everything, but
just haven't gone
feel
out
like
and got it yourself.
I love animals. It's that catch-22 scenario. Like I don't know if I could do it easily, like killing animals and butchering them. I guess I could if I was hungry enough, but. It's not something I want to do.
Put a human half butchered on the cover, but keep the animals
I'll do
out
all
of
that, but I don't want to get my hands dirty. But I've cut up fish and gutted fish, and this kind of stuff. I know it's not the same, but not so much into hunting. But, I
know James Hetfield, I think, just kind of like self-sufficient a little bit on his own property. He's got chickens. I think he gets the eggs from there. I know he's a big hunter.
I mean, at least you're not getting all the GMOs and stuff like this. It's organic, I guess. And shit, I'd like to have a farm too, man. If I had it like that,
ideal, right?
Shit, that dude can do whatever he wants, Good for him.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I want to talk about here is your time fronting Suffocation.
Oh yeah,
they've been through a lot of guys, and when Frank wasn't able to tour, you were one of the guys that I think you were the first one that they actually called up.
Yeah. The manager and stuff hit me up, and it fell into a time I did one leg of a U.S. tour, like a week out on the West Coast, kind of like B markets, and then we, which was rough because I ended up getting sick. Terrence one had this brutal cold, snotting all over the place and this and that, and sure enough, like a couple days into it, I got it, and I'm like,
shit.
Which made it a little more difficult, man. I'm trying to do that shit, and I was just fucking all achy and just like feverish.
That's a cerebral thing to try to front too. There's a lot going on in those songs.
It kind of sucked, but I had to go through it, and there was a couple of days of that. It was just rough, but managed to kind of pull through or whatever. But it was a lot of fun.
What did you learn as a frontman, dropping the guitar and just being a pure vocalist during your time in Suffocation?
For me, it was just like, what do I do with my hands? Okay, now I have to move in all this. And for me, one of the reasons I wanted to do it was, I liked Suffocation, wanted to help those guys out. And also, I wanted at that time to be also touring, nonstop, pretty much. But it kind of put me in an awkward situation in a sense, like talking to the crowd, like something I don't really like to do. So
because usually you could just kind of look at your tuner pedal or something,
What's
right?
that?
Because usually you could just kind of look at your tuner pedal.
Yeah, you kind of walk back, take your time. But when you're kind of forced on the mic to say something, ultimately it helps you out. You're, like just getting better with that, talking to the crowd and stuff. So I kind of wanted to be put in that awkward position a little bit. And it was just a good time. We did a full month over in Europe with Havoc, Cephalic Carnage, Fallujah. We shared a bus, and there was one night I was mad though because I think it was in Poland, and I was away from the bus, and I come back and everybody was shit-faced drunk. I mean, like.
I know Derek's got a little bit of a reputation.
Yeah, like the creature, right? But. Man, like all my clean clothes, I had just that day, I'd taken my dirties out of my bunk. I had like a week left. Put my clean clothes in my bunk. Like, all good, whatever. Come back 5 a.m. My clothes are all over the fucking bus. There was literally tree branches in the bus. People were ripping off tree branches, bringing them into the fucking bunks. One dude pissed himself all over the fucking place, which landed on my fucking clothes. That's why I was like, really.
No.
I was like, oh my God, not my clean clothes, But yeah, so those dudes definitely like to party a little more so than Dying Fetus. So, it was good. Good times. What can you say, man?
And that's why you only did one run with Suffocation.
Yeah, and there's some other things. Financially, it wasn't that great because. Like, Frank is still getting his, and he's sitting at home, and I was like, whoa, this is cutting into the pot more. And then at the end, I didn't get that much loot, and it was just like, this really...
It's fun
not
to
that
do
it's
it
all
once.
about loot, but when,
when you're looking at it as for
I was treated like a
sustainability.
fill-in like anyone else, and like, originally, it was supposed to be like, oh, we need you. The manager was like, come on in, we need your name, and all this, and then when it came to like, making money,
then it was a little different.
The dollar signs didn't reflect what I heard, so I was just like, all right, good luck for you guys and everything, but I'm not doing this again. And no bad blood, it's just, it's hard to get loot in this game. I know how it is. At the end of the day, you just have to decide, what's best for you, and that's that. So
well, it seems like you had a little
good luck
fun
to
on that
them
run.
and whatever, but so.
Well, one more question here for you. Just a fun one. What have you guys been listening to on the bus this tour? I know it's early, but...
Well, honestly, man, I haven't really been
12 days of death
firing up the
metal,
iPod much or anything like that. Analepsy, we were listening to that. Power Trip. Some of
that new Power Trip
that's
is
pretty
great.
good.
That's the best thrash album I've heard in a long time.
Fuck.
Because I know in packages like this where there's like 12 hours of death metal in a day, some guys just want to get far away from death metal as possible.
Yeah,
so
like
analepsy, obviously,
right.
that's
Like
not
we
the
listen to that, like
mentality here.
analepsy and stuff like that, like Ingested. We're listening to that a little bit, and the new Fetal Decay.
Do you know Abominable Putridity from Russia?
Abominable Putridity. They're fucking
They're
awesome
fun.
from Russia, right?
Yeah. I know Slaughter to Prevail's from
Yeah,
Russia on this show.
Man, I
Summer
wanted
Slaughter
them to
tour.
come out on a tour, but I don't know if they tour much, right? They're kind of like
No,
a
I know
studio
they had
band.
Maddie Way on the
He
last
did
album.
vocals,
Yeah.
and
So,
for
I don't know.
slamcore or whatever you want to call it,
It's
that
sick.
shit is banging.
It's sick.
Yeah, but like at the end of the night after the show, primarily we listen to like lighthearted stuff, 80s rock. Like we did that Hatebreed tour in Europe about a month ago, and Big Frank and I were up, listening to shit every night, and it would be like 70s rock.
Yeah, it's the classics.
Like whatever, like lighthearted stuff, because no one really wants to hear growling and screaming after hearing it all day.
Yeah. Especially on a month-long tour like this. But, all right, well, that does it for me. Thank you so much,
thanks,
John,
man.
for
Thanks
sitting
for
down with
everything.
us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Dying Fetus, wrong one to fuck with. Pick it up.
Yeah,
It's some
check it out.
Sick stuff.
Thanks,
John.
All right.
All right, and there it is. John Gallagher from Dying Fetus, a very surprisingly mellow dude. I was really, I could not believe it. I was at Summer Slaughter, as you know, and the only place to conduct a quiet interview when there's a million bands playing is in the tour bus. So walked onto there, and John's just sitting there in his glasses, mild-mannered, soft-spoken, and it was just really interesting to see that dichotomy between what he presents in Dying Fetus, in the lyrics, all that confrontation and violence, and just to see this guy be as calm as could be. Maybe he gets everything out in the music and he'd just be a madman otherwise. But one thing that I really enjoyed talking to him with was that idea of pushing boundaries in 2017 and getting hit back with all the censorship and the PC culture that's going on these days. And really, like, it's all been done before. It's so hard to genuinely shock people. So it's nice to see somebody actually going out there and trying to do something on that sort of level. And now to tell you a little bit about Dying Fetus's set at Summer Slaughter. So ignorant. It's great. They had two banners bookending the stage of the classic logo, the Dying Fetus logo with all the weird twisting lines instead of that bold font like they've had for a long time now. And so two black banners that said "Wrong One" at the top, "To Fuck With" at the bottom on both sides of the stage. And then there's that giant white logo against a black backdrop in the middle. And this is some of the craziest pit action I've ever seen. And the pit was pretty busy during all of Summer Slaughter. There's just an endless slew of breakdowns, but Dying Fetus broke it up a little bit because they play with a little bit more groove than some of those bands on there. And different kind of energy to a pit, even though it was like 4 or 5 hours into the show, people did not seem to be exhausted. So there you have it. John Gallagher from Dying Fetus. Hopefully you found out everything you've ever wanted to know about Dying Fetus. If not, maybe we'll just have to get him back in again. But go listen to Wrong One to Fuck With. And go to loudwire.com for all your rock and metal news. We've got a bunch of lists up there. Go to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out a bunch of Wikipedia Fact or Fictions that Graham hosts. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow Graham on Twitter at GrahamWire. I have a Twitter. I don't use it really at all anymore. I think the last post I made, aside from telling ShopRite that I had super expired mac and cheese that I bought from them recently, was probably, I think it might have been the Queensryche podcast, which was a while ago, maybe back in January, something like that. Instead, follow me on Instagram at Ice Nerve Shatter. It's Godflesh song. If you don't know that, listen to it. It's good, and I promise. And we'll be back next time with Graham. I'll be here too. And we'll have another awesome guest. And if not, me and Graham will probably be talking about something cool. So pay attention. Go investigate a bunch of the old podcasts if you're a first-time listener. Good ones if you tuned in for Dying Fetus, Obituary, Brendan Small from Death Clock, Metalocalypse. Go check him out. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay dookie.